guys, and welcome to the J and K Show. This is our pre-weekend edition. We'll discuss some of the things going on people are talking about. We'll discuss some college basketball, we'll do some NBA, and then close with some NFL because we all know NFL feels a little bit all year round, so we will probably always talk NFL to some degree. But
Yeah.
we will start off first with what I think everyone's buzzing about, and that's Darren Peterson starting to, I guess, Jay, we say he kind of pulling an AR. He's tapping out or
Yeah.
motioning to Bill Self to pull him out. A lot of people really start to get pretty upset with what he's
Yeah.
showing as a mentality. People just concerned, is he even hurt or not, and things like what's your take on that, Jay? Just what you've seen in the clips from Darren.
Well, I don't know. You never really know what somebody else is dealing with. He's the only one in his body, so he's the only one who really knows for sure if he's got a deal going on or not. But optically speaking, it looks kind of bad. It's just constantly being out for big games and then, just coming out of the blue and just be like, yeah, no, I'm out. And if you're winded and you need a break, hey, my fat ass isn't going to tell some athlete, hey, you can't take a break, get out there, because I'm like dead inside and, large outside. So
Like
I
not
can't
another
really tell anybody anything about that. But if you're trying to put my NBA scout cap on, it's just like, man, either this dude is trying to save himself for the draft and not give too much of his body up in college and saving himself for the NBA, or he's just that guy. He's just that way about it. And I mean, either way you look at it, it looks kind of rough just from an outside perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of, shout out to James Vanderbeek, who has passed away, but the spoof movie they made about his movie, the Not Another
Mhm.
Team movie, obviously the coach is like, how many concussions does he have left? Get him back out there, Billy Bob, he plays his character. Obviously, Billy Bob has also passed away, but he plays his character in both movies. And so it kind of is like, I don't think that anybody's trying to run Darren Peterson into the ground. I think they're being very cautious. You have to wonder if he is being cautious about injuring himself or if he's really just load managing. Because load managing, I think, for a lot of people means like you're trying to prevent injury from occurring. Whereas, being cautious is like you're kind of working your way through little ailments and physical, pains and things. So I think for a lot of people, they believe that he is load managing. I think it's starting to become like a 90% of public perception now that he's managing versus dealing with an injury. We still don't know. It's
Yeah.
allegedly, but
Well, it
what do
looks
you
that way because he's played in 13 games and everybody else has played in 24,
half?
25.
He's played like half their
So,
games.
yeah, like I said, optically, I mean, there's just signs there that will show you, like, yeah, this is being managed, or, he's just not 100% sold right now on the Kansas team. He's looking forward to, the NBA, whoever's going to be in the top 3 there. So I'm thinking it looks like maybe his focus is not right now on regular season. Maybe he will get refocused in the Big 12 conference tournament, or once they get into March Madness, maybe his focus will shift and he'll actually do what he has shown that he's capable of. He's capable of being one hell of a guy. He can dominate a game and take over at any time, whenever he wants to.
It's interesting that with this going on, people still project him on talent alone as the number one overall pick.
Yeah,
And I think so now
it's there.
where people are questioning now, it's like, okay, he did have injuries. I think that part's sure. He had a hamstring and he's had some cramping up in different times. So, okay, he has had ailments. So now I think people's questions are shifting. And so I'm interested for you, what you think. Is he saving himself for the tournament or is he saving himself for the NBA only? What do you think he's doing,
You
Jay?
could say yes to both.
You could.
You could say yes to both, and it's not like if he was on, a 20th to 25th or 30th ranked team, it would be like, all right, yeah, are they really going to do anything in the regular season? Are they a lock for the tournament? Yes, okay. They're going to have a conference tournament coming up too. So, okay, I get it. If the regular season doesn't matter, then take your time off, whatever. It's just people are going to do it now. It's the new wave of basketball, and I hope to God it goes away soon. And looking at all these top ranked guys going into the draft, they're all freshmen. Like, you don't have any really upperclassmen that they're projecting to go early in the drafts.
That's pretty often that you have some upperclassmen that go somewhere around lottery to late first, and sometimes they can end up being awesome for a team.
Oh, yeah.
But it's the underclassmen that go much higher at the top of the draft.
Yeah, which it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, you got, when I was looking at the list earlier, I mean, you got, let's just say, Braden Smith from Purdue, senior. He's a really good player, really good facilitator of the ball, and I think he'll be a really good NBA point guard. But then, you got another freshman here. You got, Peterson can probably play some point in the NBA. I think he'll be mainly, I don't think he'll be a point. I think he'll be a shooting.
Yeah.
But, you have that, what's his name? Flemings from Houston.
Flemings, okay.
Yeah, he's rated like, I think top 5 right now. But I'm like, yeah, but I mean, this is his first year. He's good. Don't get me wrong. He's a really talented kid. But I mean, I think I would go with experience and somebody who's seen multiple situations, who's been, into the tournament, has played a lot of basketball, had a national championship game run, and all that. So I think some of the rankings can be skewed a little bit, but I don't like seeing like all freshmen in like the top 25.
I get it.
It's weird.
So when I think about it, I'm thinking, I think if I'm putting my heart in it a little and trying to give him benefit of the doubt, I'm like, I think he took an injury. He had a lot of people in his corner, agents and family and his advisors saying, hey, you definitely need to take it easy, have a cautious approach. If you feel anything, don't overdo it. We're early in your career, essentially. They could be even saying you got the tournaments, you've got the NBA. Don't overdo it. Take your time. And that might be what's happening, just telling him, hey, the regular season isn't going to matter nearly as much as how you finish it and how you go to the NBA. So I think people are probably overblowing it a little bit. His demeanor doesn't look so selfish. It looks just like he seems comfortable with how he is, like himself. Like he's like, okay, like I don't think that he's someone you just cannot trust. I think that he seems like maybe he could be a hyper-focused individual. And if he's decided this is how I can not only help my team win a championship and go to the NBA, then this is what I'm going to do. We will see more once they're in the tournament. And that's really, he's going to have a lot of judgment and a lot of eyes on him. I don't think he's just going to flake on the tournament or 18 minutes is all you're getting type shit. I don't think he's going to do that. But transitioning in to the top pick, Jay, there's a lot of good players, and it does bold. You got Darren Peterson, 6'6" guard. He looks amazing. However, BYU's AJ Badabonsa, he's 6'9". He looks like he can play 2 through 4. Gives you a little McGrady vibes, gives you a little Kevin Durant vibes, getting like a tall scorer. Like he can really score. He can shoot 3 levels. Cameron Boozer, he's your prototypical 4. He's your OG power forward. He probably would even play center and small ball, but he's 6'9", 250. That's a guy that, honestly, just because I hear his name Boozer, I'm like, oh yeah, he's probably a senior. And it's like, no, he's a freshman also.
Yeah,
but he looks polished as a player. And then there's a couple others floating around, and I know Caleb Wilson will probably be at least the 4th best from North Carolina, who's also lanky. I think the thing that works against Darren Peterson is that he's not as big as the other guys, and it does depend on what you need to draft. So when you look at the way it's shaking right now, who do you think is the most likely number 1 overall pick?
Yeah, it's really going to depend on who ends up getting that lottery pick, whoever ends up winning that one. If it's,
you think fit could play a big factor? It couldn't be the number 1 overall isn't really the most talented. It could be a little bit of fit.
Yeah, I think with the top 2, it really doesn't matter. I think either way, you're either going to need a good forward or you're going to need a good shooter. So I don't think there's too much doubt in that. Because, I mean, you're looking at teams like Indiana, Sacramento, who are going to be up there and what they're going to need. Now, if Indiana were to get there, I would probably much rather see them draft Debonsa
Me too.
because he gives them a little bit more size, and we have a great backcourt anyway. You know, we got Hallie and Nemhard, so and we got a lot of other guys. Team
You got
McConnell can still come in,
Shepard, Neesmith. It's like
so
the
we're
6'9"
good.
guy fits real good.
Yeah, so we're good at the 1 and at the 2. We don't really need anything there. So, but I would like to see Debonsa come up and get into Carlisle's system because I think he could be a dog.
Yeah, I agree.
But personally, if you're asking me, I think Debonsa is the number 1 player.
I agree.
I would probably say have him at 1. Peterson could be either 2 or 3, depending on how enthralled you are with Boozer.
Yes, I agree. I think when I look at the teams, if you're the Sacramento Kings, you could go Peterson or Debonsa. I don't think you need Boozer. You could, but I don't think you're thinking Boozer ahead of those guys. If you have the 1, you're probably going Peterson, Debonsa. The Nets, you already have Porter. You might go Peterson. Or you could go Boozer. The Pacers, I think, would go Debonsa. So then it's like, we know that Utah would go Debonsa because it's like, oh, hometown. They will not pick anyone else besides a Debonsa. There's other teams that are towards the bottom, obviously. So, it really does, I think, is going to depend on fit. It's going to depend on who they need because the first 3 feel close enough to be interchangeable, like star talent-wise. I think all 3 of them can become all-stars. So you're not really missing. Then you got Caleb Wilson that I think he is a kind of a wild card. He's your Jaylen Brown kind of player where you don't know for sure. But if those 3 guys weren't there, Caleb Wilson's probably the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
By itself, like he's probably going. So I think he's locked in at 4. Someone could see something that just makes him feel a certain way, and they could take him a little higher. But I would lean towards Debonsa. I think he's a better fit on most teams, and I think he has a best chance of going number 1 for sure.
I do agree with that. I think just his size, and what he can do. I mean, he's not a bad passer. There's times where he
had a couple turnovers late.
He'll make a few rough decisions, but I mean, shit, he's 19. Give him a break. I mean,
he gets up high on his jump shots. He gets up high, and he has an excellent form, and he looks very comfortable as an ISO player. For a freshman as an ISO player, you're like, oh yeah, sure, they all try to do it, but he's really successful at it at a rate that you don't see. And so I look at that and I say, wow, he's probably going to come into his own as an NBA player, and he's going to have the, Paul George, McGrady, like that's tall, lanky 2-3 hybrid who, if he has enough muscle, he can play a little 4 in small ball scenarios. So yeah, I like him. I think he could be really great.
Yeah. And he's one of those guys, like, Darren Peterson is going to go anywhere and do what he does because he's got that raw talent. I would like to see Debonsa go, and I would like to see him play for Rick Carlisle. I think he would do really, really good with Carlisle kind of bringing him up and coaching him up and kind of bringing him up to speed on stuff, kind of like he would have almost another Dirk kind of player, you know what I mean? How he was able to get Dirk to another level. Dirk was always going to be Dirk, but when him and Carlisle got together and they went on that title run, it was just like Dirk went to another level. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think he could squeeze a little bit more juice out of the rind on him if he could find his way here. I would just like to see how Carlisle handles him.
And that just the premise on the Utah pick, it would be a little surprising if they took Debonsa because they did take Ace Bailey. And if you ask me, Debonsa is a better Ace Bailey. And so it's kind of ironic for them to take Bailey and then a year later just being like, we got to have Debonsa, BYU, stay in the state. Yeah. It's like, okay, I guess you're going to play you're going to play them next to each other. That must be the plan, is the 2 and the 3 for the future of the Jazz would be those 2. And that's cool. They seem really similar in ways. So I want to see Debonsa in a Pacer uniform. I think that we haven't had a player that we've been able to draft like him in a long time. Things that come to mind, again, Paul George, Jonathan Bender, way back, about this lengthy guy that seems like he's got a lot of touch and a lot of potential. So I would love to see a star like caliber player like him in our jersey. I don't think Peterson works out as well. I would put him as 3rd or maybe even behind Caleb Wilson. I might actually take ahead of him. based off of fit and need, I think
Yeah.
Boozer even, the bigger guys look like a better fit for us now just because of the
Hmm.
guard play that we have at our disposal. Yeah, getting these lengthier guys in there is what's going to help us win those tough playoff games. So,
Yeah. I mean, it would kind of take us back to when we had Turner and Hibbert, you know what I mean? It was like,
mhm.
it was kind of that you had the big guys in there. When you went big and
Yeah,
you forced a lot of bad shots with those two because you couldn't go inside
yeah.
because, Turner, as much crap as, we've given Turner this season, he was really good at tracking the ball and getting blocks. And, when Hibbert was here, he was the same way. So and that's when we were, I think, at our best was when we had, our big interior guys. You had the Davis brothers way back
Mhm,
in the day too. I mean, they were
mhm.
just in Smitty. So
Yeah.
I think that's what we need. We need to get a little bit more size down,
Mhm.
and I think that would probably push us over the edge.
Yeah. And just you have Zubac now, and you're
Hmm.
gonna have Siakam. If you grab a boozer seems like he'll cut into Toppin's minutes because they're probably about the same size, and they're skillfully a little different. So you cut into his minutes. It'd be hard to get Boozer and Toppin both minutes when you have the other two bigs. But if you have Debonsa, he can cut in at minutes at the three. Neesmith can have some 2 minutes and 3 minutes. It seems like we're maybe a small forward away from
Hmm.
being that top contender. But yeah, I think I would take Boozer and Caleb Wilson in that order over Peterson at this juncture. That's how I would have our draft board for us.
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, I would have it probably Debonsa, Boozer, Wilson, and
Mhm.
then if you're left there stuck,
If you're at
then I
four,
mean
you take Peterson. If
you
he's there,
have to at that
you have
point.
to because the talent of number one is there. It's really
Yeah,
just the other things and fit that would make him fall for us. So
yeah, but
he
I
probably
fear
won't
that
be there.
if we get stuck at 4, and and maybe he falls to the Pacers, then it's like, okay, you have to draft him just based on raw talent, and he is the
Hmm.
best player available. And maybe a steal there at 4,
He could
but
be.
I feel like that would probably make us have to move on from somebody that we don't want to move on from.
Interestingly,
So
he kind of replaces Matherin in that circumstance where we got Zubac
yeah,
for free and we have a new Matherin on a new 4-year rookie deal. So like it kind of
hmm
like we just got Zubac and now here we are with this team with Matherin's turned into Peterson. But it's the questions of Peterson and what his mentality is. He doesn't seem like he's going to be thrilled with Indiana, but maybe Flory Badunga is going to tell him, hey, Indiana's actually not so bad. I went to the state championship in Indiana. It was actually kind of
yeah.
cool.
Well, maybe we just wait for Forey then.
There we go. Let's wait for Flory. Moving on, we'll discuss now some NBA. The only couple things that have come up, they started playing again from the All Star game now, but they were talking a lot about Giannis during the All Star time, and the Bucks did acquire Cam from the Nets,
Hmm.
and he's an excellent scorer. He is just a bucket. And if I'm being honest, I think that he's about as good a bucket as Giannis has had next to him during his time in Milwaukee because Drew Holiday is not the same bucket that Cam Thomas is, in my opinion. He was also a
No.
great defender. Chris Middleton was a taller bucket, so that would be probably his best co-host he's ever played with. Damian Lillard hasn't been very healthy, and now he's in Portland. So I'm not going to say Dame Lillard isn't better than him. Obviously, he is, but he just had such a brief time with Giannis. So this could be playing out. Cam Thomas, he might be his best scoring guy to get the ball to when he's going to take a break on a play and Cam's going to get a bucket. He's reacting on the bench like he is enjoying watching him play. And so I'm starting to have that gut feeling that Giannis may find a way to stay in Milwaukee if they make a different move in the offseason. Do you think there's a chance of that, or do you think his request stays in for offseason, which everyone says he's definitely getting traded in the offseason? And if he doesn't, then I guess he probably is staying. Do you think he's a definite trade in the offseason to New York, San Antonio, Minnesota? Do you think it's a guarantee in your mind still? Or, because like I've wavered. I think I'm leaning towards Giannis staying, maybe like 55% now that he stays in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I'm probably like a 70-30 that he's going to be traded. He's going to be dealt in some way. Where? I have no idea. It'll probably be somewhere where it doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
But I just think they didn't trade him at the trade deadline. I'm thinking they're just going to try to get what they can out of him this
Mhm.
season. If they can make a deep playoff push, then okay, maybe they try to work things out with him. But I don't think he's set on Milwaukee anymore. There's something there that has gone sour, maybe that we just haven't seen or we
Yeah.
haven't heard about. I just think he's kind of wanting to be in the spotlight instead of just being at a small marketplace. Like, I think he wants to go somewhere where there's a lot of people in the crowd every night. So your big market areas, your Miamis, your LAs, New Yorks, stuff like that. So
They could just fire Doc Rivers and maybe things will get better again.
no, you know what? They need to keep Doc Rivers until he croaks, because that was the dumbest decision that anybody ever made. It's kind of like the Joker movie. You get what you fucking deserve, and
Why
it's
so
like,
serious? No.
yeah, it's like, man, why they did what they did just to bring in a mediocre coach to replace a mediocre coach who was really doing a good job.
We've said this before. The Jeff Fisher of the NBA.
Basically, yeah. I mean, that's kind of a slap in the face to Jeff Fisher too.
No, it's not, because they
Okay,
both
I
have
would say
won.
Jeff.
Obviously, they both have won. Both.
Yeah. Jeff Fisher with an RFK Jr. face or a voice.
It's not that bad.
No,
Case
it's
is
not.
way worse.
I'm definitely being a dramatic bitch on that one. Yes, I am. But at the same time, I am 100% right.
They haven't been. I believe they haven't been right since the Doc Rivers hire.
Yeah,
The way they felt
tipped them.
The way they felt, I believe it was Budenholzer. They won a title with him, and they had like a disappointing year and a half, and they cut ties with him, and they bring in Adrian Griffin, former Maverick player. They gave him 40 fucking games and cut ties with him. Hey, Doc Rivers. And it's like, wait a minute, you guys were like 32-12. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
I truly believe Milwaukee screwed their whole thing up when they brought Doc Rivers in. Hey, let's go get a star vet like Dame Lillard. I'm like, you could have done that so long ago. But you were building your team through Drew Holidays and through Chris Middleton's, and you were strategic, $20 to $30 million guys around Giannis, and then you're like, I'm gonna just get rid of everything for one star. It's like, that didn't fucking work, and Doc Rivers didn't fucking work, and it's like, just admit you guys fucked up. So
Yeah.
could they trade Giannis because the writing's on the wall? Very, very sure. That's taking them to what they feel like doing. But for me, a part of me just feels like Giannis, he might just not want to leave. He could have that mentality, and that's been thought of before. Him and Lillard both have had a mentality where a lot of fans felt they don't want to go hopping around. The way they've talked in the media, it seems like they want to be a Reggie Miller type that stays at one place. And then you look at Dame, here he's back in Portland. So it's like, but that's what it's looked like. Could that really be the truth? Could Giannis really just not want to leave? He's almost doing what everyone's expecting, because everyone's like, dude, you got to get out of Milwaukee. It's burning down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It all depends on how he personally feels. I mean, does he want to, he's got a family now, he's got a baby.
Yep. He's got a few now.
Does he want to stay in one place, raise his family? How does he really feel about the city? Does he want to stay there where everything's comfortable, or does he genuinely want to do something to make his career stand out a little bit more? I mean, yeah. He's got MVPs, he's got a title, so that part, I don't think really matters. I think he's happy with his accolades, at least to this point. But any athlete, any professional athletes especially, they're going to tell you, I want as many rings as I can get. I want to have that, to say, I went to the league, I got X amount of championships, I made X amount of money. Because I don't really think titles to him really matters, but legacy might, so
yeah.
If he's wanting legacy, then I think the best thing for him to do would be to stay. But if he wants rings, I mean, I don't think you're going to get any more titles in Milwaukee. So I think if you really want another ring or two or three, then you got to pack your bags and go out. So I mean, it all depends on what matters to him most, right?
Yeah. If I'm being honest, I actually thought Phoenix was going to get it that year. I thought Booker and Ayton and I think it was Chris
Chris Paul was there. Yeah.
I've been adamant that he's never going to win a ring, and now he just retired. But I
And
actually
not as
did
long as
think,
Scott Foster's still in action.
like Dallas Mavericks put it together and had the one crazy year. Jason Kidd finally got him a ring. I thought it was actually possibly going to happen, and I was like, damn, and I was prepared to, kind of eat my words on it. But then Giannis and them came back and took it over, and Ayton couldn't stop him, and they just didn't have an answer. But I don't think they're going to win another one. So let's transition into this year, because we haven't watched a bunch of NBA. We've seen clips and highlights and all that. But, like, what does your gut tell you for your NBA Finals? Like, what is it you think is most likely to be our matchup this year? Obviously, we're months away from it, but what's your gut telling you?
Man, I could give the cookie cutter answer and just be like, "Oh, it's gonna be OKC, blah 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 blah."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. As somebody who is probably gonna have their arm twisted and be forced to watch some of this stuff.
Yes.
I kind of hope for an OKC San Antonio Western Conference final
Everybody wants that.
because San Antonio has kind of had their number a little bit, so.
Yeah.
And to see maybe Wemby get into a finals or something like that, just to see, how they can handle it. So I would like to see San Antonio come out of the West. I think they're actually playing surprisingly well.
Yes.
And it's at least attractive. It's
Mm-hmm.
not same old, same old. It's a little bit different. The Spurs have been on the back burner for the last couple of years, so to see a kind of a new Spurs resurgence would be kind of fun to see.
The Popovich
And then out of the
Popovich-less Spurs too.
yeah. I mean, he got kind of I
old.
got kind of tired of seeing him and hearing him all the time there towards the end, but he's still a hell of a coach. Respect the hell out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, how cool would it be to kind of see a Spurs Pistons final? Where it's like just two young teams, man, and just coming out of nowhere. Finally, the rebuilds have started to take effect. Since especially we can't put the Pacers in there this year. All sad for us. Wow. But I mean, as just somebody who I'm not really an NBA fan, but if that's the finals that get created, I guess you could say this year, then I mean, I would watch that. I would want to see the two younger up and coming teams rather than these old washed up dudes who keep getting stuff handed to them left and right, just going to the finals and being like, well, we played in 30 games this year, so yeah, now I'm going to play for a title. It's not your time anymore. So I would say Pistons Spurs would be cool with me.
I would be happy with that matchup also. I think it'd be a fun matchup. I do think that the Thunder and the Spurs will make it to their Western Conference Finals, and they'll have their moment because it feels like Heat Pacers way back, where you can see it from afar that's what's going to happen, because there's just something different about both those teams compared to the rest of the West. The Nuggets are great. There's a lot of great teams. Minnesota, those are going to be tough outs. They are. But the Spurs and what they can offer and do, that it's difficult to match up with, and then just the Thunder and how they just have so much talent. It seems like destiny. I think, though, the lack of playoff experience of the Spurs, I don't see them beating the Thunder. So cookie cutter be damned. I'm going to say the Thunder's going back to the finals. But I'm going to pick a team that I don't think anyone's thinking about because they're not full strength, but they're going to be. I believe that Jason Tatum is going to come back before the season's over in the last couple games. And by the time they get through the playoffs, I think Boston is going to beat everyone and do what they planned to do last year, which was go to the finals to face the Thunder. And now I think that is what's going to happen. I don't think a lot of people believe that he's coming back, but I do. I think that Halliburton could have came back if we were doing well, but we aren't. The difference is Boston's the number 2 seed in the East. So Tatum's coming back. That's my belief. If he doesn't, then no, I wouldn't pick Boston. It should be the Cleveland Cavaliers, but unfortunately they have Harden. It should be. On paper, by talent, they probably had an argument they should have beat us, and they blew it. Like, on paper, they have so much talent on that starting lineup. They should be able to get there.
Yeah.
But because of who they have, Donovan Mitchell never out of the second round, because of Harden, they aren't going to. And I don't care what anyone says, they're not going to. The Knicks, same problem. Like, so there's things in the way up here, things in the way. So it's a really wide open for the East. And so, like, if Tatum comes back, I just think overwhelmingly Boston Thunder NBA Finals.
Some Celtic Thunder.
Yep.
See what you did there.
Yep.
No, yeah, I if Tatum does come back in, and I think he needs to. If he comes back, I would like to see him come back in like the last handful of games to give him some work. Give him about 10 minutes a game. Let him get his legs back. And then, if they start that playoff run, I think absolutely the Celtics could be an absolutely dangerous team that nobody wants to play. And if he doesn't come back, they're still going to be a viable team, but I just think they can be had. But you're right. If Tatum does come back and decides to join them on that playoff push, I mean, look for Boston to probably get to the finals.
Yes. I think a lot of people are ruling them out because they don't believe, and that's fine. But this Tatum just scrimmaged with their G League team a week ago. We're fucking February. Like, he's coming back. Like, maybe people need to just understand that he is going to come back. If Kevin Durant can rest his calf, and keep pushing it, people are like remembering that, thinking that he just tore his Achilles after tearing it. No, he didn't. He tried to prevent tearing it and then still did. That's what happened with Kevin Durant. And he's still providing a lot of good minutes and scoring. He's still playing at a high level. They're not going to just sit Jason Tatum when they're in this situation. The East is wide open. How many chances do you get? The Pacers could be full strength next year and be really difficult again. The Knicks could make a move. Cleveland could make a move. Maybe they have LeBron. Like, every year changes, and we know this year it's wide open. So why would they tell Tatum, scrimmaging 2 months before the season ends, that he's not going to be able to come back? They're not letting him. He's going to be capable of coming back. Now, he might not be able to give you 25 a night, but if you give him, and I mean points, if you give him 20 or 25 minutes off the bench, somebody's minutes is going to be lost, and you're going to gain so much. Now Tatum can play, and when Brown's not in there, Tatum's going to be in there, and you've got another guy that can put the ball in the hoop against bench guys. Like, that's going to be a huge factor. He's still going to be able to do things. So if you're Boston, you're not going to get this scared mindset of, oh no, it's only been 11 months. That's almost a year. Are we going to get better at healing Achilles through medicine and through studies and all that? Yes, just like we did with the ACL. So he's coming back.
Yeah, it's no longer, you're going to miss the whole season guaranteed anymore.
It's a 9 to 12 month injury.
Yeah, it's all about timing. Everybody rehabs different. Everybody heals different. So, we know Hallie's not going to play any minutes this year because he doesn't need to. I think our fate is sealed. So but I guarantee you, if the Pacers were able to squeeze it out and they were still a top 3 seed towards the end of the season, I think you would probably see him come off the bench either towards the end of the season or even in the playoffs.
Because how much better could he make that second unit getting open shots?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to get him 15 minutes or so at least, right? You're going to.
Absolutely.
Plus, it helps him get back to his rhythm, so you don't have to wait so long for him to get his rhythm back the following year. It's like, you're going to do this with Tatum because he's going to be really ready.
Yeah. Yep. I think, and they're not going to put him out there unless he's 100%. So you don't want to really risk it. So, as long as he doesn't have any setbacks, they got a couple months here before the playoffs. So, I think he'll be more than ready to go. And they're going to be a tough out too.
Yep, I agree. So now let's transition a little to the NFL to close out the show. The first story I want to touch on, and you brought it up, it is kind of unbelievable. The Chicago Bears are what sounds to be this fucking close to signing a $2 billion stadium deal to be built in Hammond, Indiana.
Yeah.
They're about to cross state lines and tell Illinois to go fuck themselves. Like, that's
basically it. Yeah.
What are you thinking on this, Jay? Because I'll tell you what, my whole life I never thought this one time. Never.
Yeah, I never thought not for one that the Chicago Bears would ever play in Indiana,
Hmm.
or two that Indiana would have two NFL teams. I think it's hilarious.
It's really funny.
I really do. I mean, it just goes to show, without getting too, politically involved, Illinois is just not a great place to be. You know, it's like the taxes there are outrageous. So I'm sure the players would appreciate at least that much more of a tax break on their money.
Yeah.
The team would be happy to not have to pay out so much in tax. So
I didn't even think of it that way. Like that the Chicago Bear players, their literal tax
mhm.
forms will change the next season and
Yeah,
will maybe literally have more take up home money than they're used to.
yeah,
That's kind of
they
I
will.
didn't even think that really.
Yeah, and they won't. The other teams. It's kind of like when we were doing the jock tax in California. There's players that have to pay the Illinois tax when they come to do the same thing in Illinois. They have the same thing. So I'm sure there's, the NFC North will be happy. So just from a tax standpoint, I mean, it's better for the players. It's better for the organization. You don't have all this other crap going on. So, you know, does it suck that an iconic stadium is going to go to waste? Yeah. I think Soldier Field's one of those places. It's a bucket list place to go watch a football game.
That's a sad
And
spot.
now that you take that away, you can't help but feel for, Chicago Bears fans who's like Soldier Field is the home of so many memories for them, watching football games with their kids or with their parents, with friends and everything. It's like, okay, now that is in extreme danger of being taken away.
Yeah.
So, I know they were going to move to what was it, Arlington Heights up there for a new stadium anyway. So I mean, either way you look at it, Soldier Field is not going to be hosting the Bears anymore. So
And it
that
was
in
such
and
a
of
good
itself is bad.
it's such a good location. I thought when I went and visited Chicago, I thought it was just a really cool location. It was like right on the lake and like
Yeah.
right on the outside of the city where you kind of can turn and look and then you have all this lake and you turn and then you like there's the city to walk into and go have a city night. And I thought it's like, wow, this is actually a really cool location. The parking, you're underneath and you're trying to like get to like different parking lots and all that. But I just thought, I never would have thought they were going to leave. It's kind of
No.
surprising.
Yeah. I would have never thought, Chicago Bears would not be in Chicago. I mean, what the hell? And I know I've got family up there, big Bears fans, and we got friends here that were Bears fans too. But I still have to think that a lot of them are still in kind of shock and disbelief and hearing that, where it's like, dude, we're not going to have an NFL team anymore, the second largest city, and we are not going to have a football team. It's like, wow, that sucks, and that kind of takes away from the tourism and everything, money that the Bears bring in for the state. You can kiss that goodbye. That's all coming to Indiana, but maybe we're going to save some money, and it's not too far of a drive to get to a Bears game now. So hey, we have options.
There's a big bill to be paid, obviously, by us taxpayers on that $2 billion stadium. Something to, again, not getting too political, just briefly. I was talking to a coworker and discussing, like we looked up the top states of people moving and
Mm-hmm.
moving out of the state or you say migrating out. And California is one of them. Now they have their ups and the downs. There's so many people that they can lose 400,000 people and it's almost nothing. They have 39 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got
Yeah.
California. One of the states on the list was Illinois. And
Illinois,
you
yeah.
really look at it and think it's like how ironic that not only are the people moving out of Illinois, but the entire fucking NFL football team is now leaving. And it's like, ouch. Okay, now hopefully, maybe
Mhm.
in political terms, they'll look at that and see that maybe they need a slight restructure of things or modification to prevent that,
Yeah.
because that's a big deal, a much bigger deal. No offense to the couple 100,000 that move out every year, because everyone moves for different reasons. But when you have an entire football team move, that's a lot. That's like you just said, a lot of revenue.
Yeah.
A lot of revenue.
Yeah. A lot of revenue. And I think a lot of people should probably take a back seat and just say, what led to that? You know, what makes an NFL franchise uproot and just want to go?
In case
You
people
have to think it's really bad.
in case people don't know, apparently to be short detailed, they had renovation on Soldier Field a while back, years and years ago, and there was a bill that needed paid for it. They agreed to with Illinois who was going to pay how much. Chicago, the team paid their port, like they got it
Yeah,
done. They paid their
yeah,
amount. Illinois, the state, has yet to pay all of it. So they would not allow, a new stadium to be built. Like, we're not done paying the bill on renovations of Soldier Field. You can fuck off.
yeah,
We're not going to get in bed on another financing thing to build a new stadium. And so they were playing hardball with Chicago. And it's like Chicago's over here like, we paid our part. It's not our fault that
yeah.
you didn't pay yours yet, that you're still making payments on it. That's the reason, I guess, that we've been told as to why they're leaving. Are the Chicago Bears wrong for leaving? For the fans, for the state, the politics? When you think of all of the stuff, is it kind of a wrong thing to do, or are you kind of supportive of them leaving?
I support them doing whatever they want to do. You know, if you're sitting with somebody and if you have an agreement, and it's like, okay, well, we pay this share, you pay that share to make this happen. And if the state's not going to pay up their end of the bargain, then you have absolutely no right to sit there and lay claim to this franchise. You don't get to make us stay here. You can't put a gun to our head and say you guys are going to stay here no matter what. If they want to leave, by God, let them leave. If they can find it, if they could have gone to Iowa, hell, they can go to Iowa, or they can go to Indiana, or they can, God's sakes, go to Wisconsin. But I mean, there's other options there, but you kind of gotta, again, this is not really the direction that we like to go a lot of times, but I mean, you kind of have to put the blame at the feet of the politicians in Illinois. I mean, for not doing what they're supposed to do to keep that franchise there. And the writing was on the wall years ago when they were talking about moving out of Chicago and going to Arlington Heights. That made people upset because, like, why are you going all the way to Arlington Heights for? We got a stadium right here that everybody loves, and it's a great elite place to go. Everybody loves Soldier Field.
Great.
It's an iconic place. So, I mean, you look at it, it's like if they can go, if the franchise can save money, if they can get their players more money by going into Indiana and building a stadium there, I mean, I can't blame them as far as a business decision goes. I mean, you're going to save yourself money, and you got a new area of fans that you can tap into right there. So I can't blame them one bit, and I say they deserve it.
I would say I'm also. I think I have to stay supportive of it too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I did the GPS, the navigation. I wanted to see, okay, how far away is Hammond? And it is
It's not really far.
It's like right there. So, like, it's a 40-minute drive from the heart of Chicago, right, the very middle.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago's huge, and so if you're really looking at it from South Chicago situation, it's about a 15-minute drive from like South Chicago. So Hammond it's probably the first non-Chicago area you come to when leaving Chicago. So it's really not like an absurd thing for any Chicago fan. They absolutely can stay a fan of their Bears, and it's not a big deal. And I compare this to the Giants and the Jets because they also do not play in the state of New York with all that room to be in New York somewhere. They wanted to be close enough to New York City. So what do? They build in was it East Rutherford, New Jersey?
Mm-hmm.
When they had the opportunity, they could have moved it more into a New York area for the state-wise, state taxes, whatever. If they wanted to really be in the state of New York, they had the Meadowlands, and what they did, they built the fucking new MetLife right fucking next to the Meadowlands. And when they got it about done, they tore Meadowlands down and they made that the fucking parking lot. So that tells you that at the end of the day, we've seen it already. The NFL owners of these teams, they are going to put the bottom dollar ahead of and try to appease the fans the way they can. And in this circumstance, the taxes and things, and they're going to build their stadium as close as they can to Chicago, and it is going to work out fine for the fans. Now, will the Chicago fans revolt? I don't know. Maybe some of them will. I talked to the coworker, and he said, fuck them. He's pissed off. So he's saying, fuck them. They can just go. They can be the He said he doesn't want them to keep their name. Name them the Hammond Bears. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, they're not going to. They're still going to say they're probably going to keep it the Chicago Bears, but
there's so many states and teams that don't play directly in the city. Like when you really look under a microscope, dude, the Palace of Auburn Hills, it's in Auburn Hills, which is slightly north of Detroit. It's like Carmel on Indy. Like a lot of them don't play. You know why? There is not room for a stadium in the middle of a heart of a city. They're huge cities. They have to put them on the outskirts, and sometimes that's some other name, Meadowbrook something, like that's something else. So in this case, it just happens to be across the state line.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Obviously, it's years away.
Yes,
but to kind of see where this fight is going to go and what is actually going to happen. I don't want Bears fans to lose their team. I don't want them to lose the team. I don't want them to feel that, because how Bears fans are. They are very proud, very loyal, no matter what. They can be 4-13 and they're still like, you know what, we're going to figure it out next season and we're going to be there. So you admire the loyalty that they have and the love that they have for that franchise. And it's a historic franchise, one of the OG teams.
It's bittersweet because they have a good team now.
Yeah, and as soon as they get really good, it's like, oh shit, we're going to lose them. But I honestly don't know how it's going to pan out, but if it ends up happening to where they move the franchise to Hammond, then, I mean, kudos, great. They're doing what they can, but it also needs to, when it comes to the NFL and ownership, it doesn't matter how many fans you have, how loyal your fans are, how much your fans love your team. It's always going to come down to revenue, and that's the only thing that's going to drive it. If they can make $12 more by moving the team, by God, they're going to do it.
It makes you wonder how a team hasn't moved their damn franchise to like Mexico City yet,
Right. I'm sure they're going to try.
Yeah, they could.
But, it wouldn't surprise me at one bit. We get into that part where the NFL is going to go international anyway.
They will eventually, yeah. And Mexico City is a lot easier to get to than all the way over in Europe. So it's like,
yeah,
that seems like there's a good possibility. They got to work out their fields and stuff, but I don't have a problem with Mexico being included because they're right there.
Oh, no.
I've even thought, why don't we have one Canada NFL team? Just I know they have their own league, but one would be. We have it
because Canada sucks, man. Come on, let's face the facts.
Okay. Well, I mean, we have a basketball team there, and they love the Toronto Raptors. So it's like I'm kind of surprised that there's not one in Vancouver or Montreal.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Ontario. There's several places I would have thought they might have had
there's places you could go, but I mean, are we really gonna adopt an NFL team to a country whose currency is the loonie?
You can call them the Looney Tunes. I don't give a shit.
Oh no, that's
their money's good here.
Don't you dare.
Well, let's move on to the final topic I saw the other day. Derek Carr, he spoke about how he would come out of retirement, but it would be for a Super Bowl run. And you always got to look at the teams that are like, okay, who do we actually think is a quarterback away? I landed on a couple teams. What's one of the teams that you land on when you think, are they a quarterback away?
Well, if you're asking me realistically, or a 2026 scenario, probably right off the bat you would have to say Kansas City,
just because
Mahomes is going to be gone for probably 6 weeks, something like that.
4 to 6, I think.
Do they really? I mean, whatever. I don't remember the kid's name, but whoever their third stringer was, he proved to be not the guy. So I don't think they're gonna want to put him on the field, and who knows how they feel about Minshew.
Minshew's he got hurt too, so he may not. I mean, they said it wasn't a tear. I think after like a week.
Yeah, or something. It was just like a really bad sprain or something like that. But do they bring him back? Maybe, but I mean, I think one of the better things that you can do is bring in a veteran who has proven to win. He's not trash. But if you can bring somebody in to kind of hold the seat for him, and maybe they can stay, a couple games above 500 when Mahomes returns and is healthy. That way, you don't have to rush him back either, and maybe do something to aggravate the injury, or he comes back, 2 or 3 weeks too soon.
That seems similar to like what Joe Flacco did. So it's almost like a 4 to 6 week tryout. And then the team that loses their guy trades for you, because Flacco was with the Browns. They always knew eventually they would go to their younger guys to try. The Bengals lose Burrow, and they're just like, you know what, fuck it, we'll go get Flacco. And so Flacco moves, and maybe that I was, when you first thought Chiefs, I was like, eh. But under that circumstance, it could be the team before the team. So I guess I could see that being a possibility for sure. Does he want to help them after being a Raider, though? Like, he was a Raider.
Well, I'm sure after what happened with the Raiders, he doesn't give a shit about them anymore.
Maybe.
I think at this point, you dangle a ring in front of an older player, and it's, yeah, I'll go there. I don't give a shit. I don't really think it matters.
So the one team I thought, because they got their quarterback who might retire, so I thought Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Does Pittsburgh and Derek Carr make a little sense? Like, could Derek Carr take them to where they need to go? Could he be as good as Rodgers was? I think maybe.
I think he could definitely be a little bit more,
He could evade.
What's the damn word I'm looking for?
Pocket elusiveness in the pocket, yeah.
Yeah, I think he would be a little bit better in that aspect. But, I mean, coming into I just don't know how he would mesh with a Mike McCarthy system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if they kind of get back to the back in the day Steelers where it's, run first, then okay, I could see him doing that. But if you're depending on him to go out there and throw 40 times a game, no, I don't think that's what he's after. I think he wants to, no more than maybe 30 to 35 attempts.
Yeah. I thought of a funny scenario. I thought, well, this team really is saying it's their quarterback is what stopped them from getting there. And it's like the Houston Texans bringing little brother in to finish what older brother started.
No.
Could they challenge CJ Stroud with a Derek Carr? And it's like, probably not, but that's me thinking CJ Stroud is fine. But there's a lot of people who are like, he was really dog shit, and maybe we need a new guy. That they want to treat him like AR and have someone challenge him next year. Because some people are calling for the neck to be the guy. I'm like, I don't think so. You guys are overreacting.
Yeah, no, I definitely do not want Dougie Mills over CJ Stroud. That's not wise. Yeah, he won the games for him when he
that's
subbed in, but
supposed to do.
That's what they're supposed to do. So yeah, I don't think Houston would be a very good landing spot for him. I don't think that they're necessarily in a title contention spot right now. They definitely have the defense for it, but I mean, there's just something offensively that's holding them back, and it's not the players. I just think it's something within the system.
Yeah, they're going to get Tank Dell back too.
Yeah, they're going to have him back. I just think that they need to go a different direction as far as coordination and schematics go. Maybe D'Amico kind of needs to let somebody else figure that part out. But
let all those running backs go.
They got enough talent.
Let all the running backs go except for Woody Marks. Bring in another young one like him, and make sure your line's good too. I think that's their focus. Yeah, because everything else was fine.
Yeah, and I mean, their play calling.
The play calling
got to get better too. Yeah. Play calling and maybe just the schemes overall. It was just so, I mean, vanilla.
Yeah. Another one I kind of like, and I know that it hurts to hear me say this, but what about the Minnesota Vikings?
Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
Because I like McCarthy, don't get me wrong. I mean, Derek Carr comes in, the weapons they have, and they were 14 wins the year before. It kind of feels like that team actually could be ready to win or close to winning. If Derek Carr comes in, what if they could be that good again? That one I wonder about as well, a little.
Yeah, you've seen what O'Connell's done with old vet quarterbacks. I mean,
yep.
If he's not going to go to, like a Kansas City or somewhere else, where can I go that has the best coaching? Minnesota has probably the better developmental head coach, to get the most out of quarterbacks that, seem to be washed up or just seem to be, very, very light in the lopers as far as later in their careers. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that would necessarily be a bad idea. I mean, he could even go up there and mentor McCarthy a little bit and maybe point out some things that he just doesn't see, or, just gives him just another direction to look at, another thing to look at, that maybe he just doesn't do now. But I still think JJ is going to be a good NFL quarterback. But I just think, coming off of the injury that he had the year before, and then he got hurt a couple times last year, basically his rookie season last year, so it's kind of a wash.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't start Carr right away, but I mean, unless he just comes in and mini camps and just blows everybody away. But I could see him going to Minnesota. I think that would be a decent fit for him too.
Yeah. I don't think there's any other teams that could be a Super Bowl ready team. I think those are kind of the only ones, and they're just kindas. So my guess is that he probably will not come out of retirement. I think that's the most likely scenario.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he could go other places, Miami, but I don't think they're going to be ready to win. So there's other places that you could see him going to, and it's like, oh, he makes them better, and that helps them get back on track, and they could be more exciting. And you never know, maybe they could even be a playoff team, but you just can't see them being a team that can win. So yeah, I think those are just about it for me. I can't think of any others really.
Yeah. The only other one I could maybe see would be Atlanta.
Maybe.
But I mean, they would have to. I think if he does come out of retirement, I think technically New Orleans still holds the rights to his contract. So I think it would have to be a trade.
Yeah.
So they would have to trade within the division, which I don't know if they would want to do that or not. But
yeah.
I think just looking at it, that's the only other place that I could think logically that would make sense for him to go.
If you're Atlanta, you stay with Penix. If you're with Carolina, you stay with Bryce Young. There's guys that you can make the argument, Stroud and Houston. You can make these arguments like, I just am not real sure. But that's not a time that you bring Derek Carr in, because he had a year off, or 2 years off, I think. Was it 1 or 2? I can't remember.
About a year and a half.
Year and a half. New Orleans, honestly, I kind of like them next year, but we have plenty of time for that. I kind of wonder if they could make a jump. That division's gettable after what we saw happen this year. That's all. That's a very difficult division to discuss. But yeah, I think he stays retired.
Yeah, that could be as well. But I think don't underestimate the power of dangling a ring in front of a guy who's barely sniffed playoffs, so it might bring him out. So
the Kansas City one's
might go somewhere.
The Kansas City one's definitely interesting because of the tryout, and then when things happen. I know a lot of people might say, well, Indianapolis, and it's like, I'm good. I'm just thinking the way Riley Leonard played, that makes just as much sense. Like, why would we bring Derek Carr in for that 6-week tryout until Daniel Jones was possibly ready to go? I'm looking at that and I'm thinking,
well, if you could make a trade, if you could make a trade work out where they can maybe, if they could get AR for him, I think that's something that New Orleans would probably want to do. Since they don't have Taysom Hill anymore, you could probably put Anthony Richardson in that kind of a flex area where he could run the ball, he could play quarterback.
Makes sense.
You could dangle that carrot in front of him and see if that would work.
You don't have to throw that playbook out. You just hand it to AR instead of throwing it in the trash.
Yeah, well, don't throw it at him. I hit him in the eye, and knock him back out. But if you could use AR to get Derek Carr and get a veteran in the quarterback room as well, maybe not necessarily to play very much,
unless he really outplayed Riley, I guess.
Unless he outplays Riley, and then okay, but at least give him somebody who's seen it and that can be in his ear while Jonesy's rehabbing. And if they even sign Daniel Jones back, who knows? Who knows how that's going to play out? So we have to see how that works.
Brings up an interesting little point to cover. Do you think that the Colts are perceived a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender? Do you feel like that is likely to be in a lot of people's thoughts or not?
I think we have our quarterbacks. I think I don't mind who we have. I think
a healthy Daniel Jones.
Before Daniel Jones got hurt, everything was so good. And he was playing out of his mind. He was so on point with everything, so I think we have him, but his health next season is going to be what really drives everything. Now, if you can get him to sign a light front of the contract, his first year, maybe for, 30, 35, something like that. And then he can come in, week 10 or whenever he's healthy. And then, starting in 27, okay, start his 40 and then 50, whatever, load the back end of that contract up. So we're not like losing a lot of money right off. So we can still afford to get some pieces in place.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're good, but it's just health wise. How do we keep our guys healthy? How do we get him healthy? And can we develop Riley Leonard enough to keep us in position while he's doing that?
Yeah. I think that we very well could be, from what I saw last year. Obviously, I think the question marks are Buckner, Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman. I think those big question marks, we just don't know if they're going to be here. We hope that Pierce is going to be here. The offensive line with Braden Smith, that would be another question mark. Are they going to keep him or not? But I look at what we did, and I'm like, I think you would put us in that discussion for sure, especially because I don't think a lot of people feel highly about Daniel Jones. Well, then, so for as good as we were with that level of quarterback, you'd have to argue that means that the team was really good then, right? So you can't take the credit away from Daniel Jones and not give it to something else. So if you think Daniel Jones is awesome, then okay, maybe we're not Super Bowl contender worthy, but Daniel Jones was playing at his highest potential. Fine, we'll see what happens. But if you think that he got lucky, it was kind of scrubby, it was kind of just fit and things kind of work out sometimes, well, then that means that our team was probably really good. And it was all gelling together. So I would make that argument that, the credit has to go somewhere. I would say the Colts should be considered a contender with a healthy quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we were 8-3 with him and 0-6 without him. So that's got to say something.
Yep.
So
most valuable player.
If anybody wants to keep throwing shade at Daniel Jones, I mean, go ahead, but you're an idiot. I mean, he was playing very well. And I would say if he could have stayed healthy last year, I believe we would have definitely been in the playoffs, probably as a wild card.
Yes.
But I believe we would have been to the playoffs, maybe won a playoff game, and then everybody would be screaming, "Oh, Danny deserves 50 a year." So everybody just needs to relax and just see the writing on the wall for what it is. He was the right hire.
When does free agency start for the NFL? Is it
March, I think?
March 11th. Okay.
Second week of March, yeah.
Yeah, March 11th. So, legal tampering period. Let's say it's March 9th or March 14th or something. So, you wake up and the thing on your phone, the news bulletin says Daniel Jones signs a 5-year, $260 million deal. Are you happy or are you not happy?
That's a lot of money.
It is, right? It's right. And
I would
just
wanna
at
see-
that threshold of making people question.
Yeah. You're going to question it, but you gotta take your fan hat off.
Yep.
And look at it, unbiased, really.
Right. Because it would be
and just
50,
say,
52
what could have been
52 a year, 45 to 60 basically in that 5 years. So go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. No, I would be okay with it, but I would want the first 2 years probably to be a little bit lighter, and then you can load that back half. So I think as long as we're not paying him $50 million in 26 to sit in rehab, then I'm okay with that if they can make it like 35, so because he would still have a chance to play, come in and be effective and make a playoff push at the end of the season. But I wouldn't mind it so much to be backloaded so we can kind of restructure if need be. So it still gives you options later on in the contract to kind of move money around and play around with it. And then, of course, he's going to have to perform.
I'm going to have maybe an unpopular take here.
No.
If that's the price, I say look elsewhere.
Yeah.
If we can't get him for 30 to 40 mostly through those years, for most of those years, move on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're going to pay for a quarterback no matter what. You're going to. And if you have one in your system that works out really well, you're going to pay him. And I think it's just no. And especially once you get into the 27, 28, 29 seasons where whatever the hell it is, the shit's going to be up here.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a lot more money. You can afford a 45 million to 50 million a year contract for your quarterback. So, the salary cap will be way higher than what it is even now.
Yeah.
So
The whole Chiefs kick the can concept.
basically, yeah. So
Everyone freaked
and it
out
works.
that Mahomes got a 10-year, $500 million deal. And it's like, oh, wait, there's a catch. He's going to make 30 a year every year until we finally decide to pay him 80 million or whatever the
Yeah.
fuck it is. They just keep on
Yeah.
kicking the can. It's like he never even signed a
Yeah.
$500 million deal, really. I mean, he hasn't been paid nearly that much than what he's supposed to have been paid. He was supposed to get 50 a year, and he's gotten less than that every year.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like the Tom Brady deal where he would always took less money because it meant we could get more players.
Yeah.
And then when he got towards the end of his career, it's like, okay, I'll take some money now. I think I've deserved it, and he did.
Yeah.
I still think he was underpaid for the amount of games that he won and all that stuff, but it's all what are you willing to do for the team? And I think if they're sitting behind closed doors, I think Daniel Jones would be one of those guys. It's like, I understand there's a lot that is still unknown. You got an 11 game sample size out of him, and that's all we got. So it's going to take a little bit of faith in the Colts and Daniel Jones, I think, together. But I think he'll only request, what is necessary, and I think he'll take a team friendly deal.
I hope so. I don't think that the kick the can concept should be used on any quarterback that has not at least gotten or won a Super Bowl, because when you just made the comparisons, Brady and Mahomes, yeah, that's a whole different ballpark. So for me, another factor I think about is we all, I think, would be in agreement as a Colts fan that Ballard and Steichen are connected together in a last year scenario unless things go very positively. Why would you sign a quarterback to a 50, kick the can and all that when you could have a new regime next year? To me, that looks to be foolish. So it needs to be team friendly. And if it's not going to be team friendly, then you need to look elsewhere. You need to ask about Mac Jones. You need to look in the draft. You need to decide what you're doing with AR. You need to call around the league and decide, do we want Kirk Cousins? Do we want Derek Carr? Do we want, you got to make a different decision that seems like a good 1 year decision, because a 5-year decision when you're going to change everyone next year in the office on the coach, and that just looks franchise wise. I hope the Ursays think about that long and hard. Like, are you leaning towards getting rid of those people next year? Why would you commit to their guy at quarterback like that, like 50 million a year? Like that to me looks to be foolish. So if I get that text in the morning and I'm like, I'm going to be very concerned. I do not want to see that.
Well, if I'm those guys, then I think if you're still unsure about Ballard and Steichen and you don't want to commit for that long, then you got to seriously think about just franchise tagging him for next year.
Yeah.
And just give him that median amount of money. Just be like, well, all right, we're going to tag you.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we go out and we have a great season, and we retain Ballard and Steichen. Yeah, if we retain Ballard and Steichen and we keep that system here, then obviously we need somebody to run that system, and it beautifully. Then we'll sign you to a 4-year, 5-year deal after that.
How far?
But maybe just franchise tag him then.
How far do we have to go to re-sign in that circumstance? How far do we have to go to re-sign Ballard, Steichen, Daniel Jones if they were on the 1-year deal? How far do we have to? What do we have to succeed in doing? Because
I think I think the Colts need to win the division.
So
I really do.
Division, host the playoff game. Do we have to win a playoff game?
I would say yes. If we can win the division, win a playoff game, I think that would be enough to say, all right, we can run it back, because obviously it's going somewhere. We finally have a formula now to where we can build on it, and now we have confidence. It's no longer a question mark. Okay, we know this works. This crew works really good together. Something's happening. We got something we can build on now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I absolutely think the Colts have to win the division.
Okay.
In order for Ballard and Steichen to hang around.
If we didn't win
at the very least.
If we didn't win the division, how far do we have to go in the playoffs if we still got in?
I would say you would have to win 2 games then.
You
2
have to get to
playoff
the
games.
AFC title game.
AFC title game.
I agree. I think
Mhm.
that's the line that they're looking at. I think the division title means a lot to them. The extra home playoff game, the revenue, the fans. Hey, we finally brought it back. It's been a long time. I agree. I think that's exactly what they have to accomplish. Otherwise, we will be, shopping for new people.
Yep, I agree. I've been a very, very, very hard supporter of Ballard. I think he's brought in the right guys. He's drafted the right players. He's made the right moves as far as free agents and everything. I think he's brought in. We've had great, talented teams, but the quarterback issues that we've had for the last 10 years has just been
unbelievable,
ridiculous. And I mean, it's Cleveland Browns bad.
Yeah.
So
it's one of the
whenever you have kind of that, if you have anything even remotely close to being a Cleveland Browns issue, it doesn't make you look good. You could be God.
Mm-hmm.
And if he has a Cleveland Browns stain on him somewhere, anywhere, it's like, all right, this sucks.
It's almost damn near remarkable that we've been able to get that 8-9 or 8-8 so many damn times.
Mhm.
It's like,
yeah,
man, Cleveland couldn't fucking do that during a lot of their stints. Baker's about the only one that was successful. So, like, how was we able to do that with a different guy almost every freaking year? It was the few times we actually got close, good old man Phillip Rivers, last guy to take us to the playoffs, but it was a road game against Buffalo.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks, but I mean,
jeez.
You at some point, when you're dealing with a franchise who was ripping off division titles every year, and to not have one in 12 years, that really makes you look bad, especially when the other teams, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Houston, they haven't been consistent. Yet the Texans have been the only consistent team really in the last 3 years.
Yep, and Andrew Luck. Yeah, that was what I was like pretty sure. Yeah, 2015.
That set us back really far. Mm-hmm.
Man,
that set us back quite a while. So, at some point, you got to say, okay, enough is enough. At some point, it has to be enough. And I think finally this season is going to be do it or get at.
I'll tell you, here on the J&K show, we might just have to make a little pact that we will either get some nosebleeds if we get the home playoff game. We get some nosebleeds, we have a watch party, or we do something kind of special. We actually make sure that we are really a part of that first home playoff game since 2015. Because I'm hopeful. I hope that can happen for us. A lot of these guys that have been on this team, it seems like we should have been there. We should have at least made playoffs a few times, and it didn't happen. It would be very awesome to see for a lot of these guys that have been hustling over the last 4 or 5 seasons. I would probably want to be there or be like just somewhere other than just my front living room to kind of just take it in. Like, yes, we're fucking finally home playoff division win. Like, man, it's been a long time.
Yeah, you would definitely want to be in that atmosphere for sure, and that would be great. So. If that happens, we'll have to set up a Patreon or something. Maybe everybody can pay for us to go.
Like a GoFundMe kind of deal. It's like, hey, just a little bit goes a long way. We won't, blow our wad or anything. We'll get some seats. We'll take in the atmosphere. We'll kind of get you some clips of the moments to bring on the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just have a little fun with it. I'm hopeful. I'm excited.
Yeah, and I think people out there would want that for us, right?
I hope. Now?
Right?
Yeah.
We bust our asses here. I mean, come on. How many times we get told we don't know nothing, but you still watch and comment and, give us views. You do it anyway. You deserve it.
Hey, haters gonna hate and ain'ters gonna ain't.
They hate us because they ain't us.
All right, guys, and that's we'll send off on the show here. Thanks for watching, and until next time, we'll see you later.